make good decisions. Avoid risky behavior. Trust has been established for milestone 5. You should encourage positive behavior, help them avoid risky behavior or specific to their situations. And then finally, milestone 6, hopefully we all get there at some point where they're seeking support, avoiding risky behavior. The bigs should be able to help littles establish plans to reduce risky behaviors. They're utilizing community resources, they're listening to trusted adults, and they're encouraging academic success. That should all be part of that final section. Okay? Encourage them to ask questions about stuff. You know, hopefully they feel comfortable by the end of the year where they're coming to you with certain things like, hey, how do I do this? Or, you know, this happened. I really don't want to have this happen again. What can I do? You know, they'll ask you that kind of stuff. So help them when you can. Examples of situations, what to do if they occur. So I thought this would be kind of fun to just kind of go over some things that maybe happened last year that were kind of crazy and just kind of let you guys maybe talk about what you would do in that situation to maybe avoid it. A lot of words, so does anybody want to read the first one for me? Where it says example 1 or scenario 1. Can you guys all see that? Does anybody want to read that for me? Please?
Sure.
Okay.
Little Cassandra is very hyper and a little rebellious. The program takes place in the library with lots of hiding places. Cassandra wants you to play hide and seek with her, but she doesn't tell you. She just runs away and hides. While she's hiding, she thinks it's okay to hide outside of the program space and runs out the door when your back is turned. Another big yells out to you that Cassandra just ran out the door.
Okay, so you're sitting there at the program, and you're kind of paying attention to your little, but you're kind of not, and then all of a sudden your little just runs out the door. What do you do? What would you do? Yeah! Chase him down, right? Show how fast you are. Run. Go get him. Good. Yeah. Is that what you guys would do? Anybody else do anything different? I mean, that's the big thing. I mean, you want to... I'm not saying that you have to, like, sprint, right? But go get your little. You know, if you notice your little just left, go get him. Right? Let somebody know, like, hey...
Don't just sit there.
Yeah.
Oh, she
say,
just
well,
left.
They'll come back.
Yeah.
It's fine. They do this all the time.
No.
Right?
Get them.
Yeah. Because that's a safety concern for us. What about scenario 2? Anybody want to read that one?
Come on, y'all can read. You're high school students.
Come on, somebody, anybody. We won't do all these. We'll do like 3 of them. Yeah, go ahead.
Two matches decide to play Yahtzee together. Little Joseph is a bit socially awkward and doesn't have many friends in the program because, as other littles put it, he does too much. His big is absent and he sees the group playing, so he runs over there and grabs the dice during the middle of Lil Allah's turn. She gets angry and pushes him.
Okay, so you're sitting there with your little, you're playing a game together, and another little comes over and starts bugging you, and your little smacks that little or pushes them. What would you do?
Don't do that.
Yeah. That's good. Just say, hey, what?
Keep in mind, this is a multiple step situation. You have an absent little, you have your little, and you have a situation where this one little is not being supervised and has caused a commotion with your group.
Right.
So there's no just one answer to this.
Right. And this is something where you're probably going to want to, first of all, you want to make sure that the other little's okay, right? Because, hopefully it wasn't anything, like, too serious, but obviously physically, like, the other little okay. And, I'm not saying you have to, like, yell at your little, like, never yell at your little, right?
Never ends well.
But you might want to maybe, like, take your little, like, out in the hall or to a private place and just maybe talk to them and be like, hey, I know so-and-so was, kind of annoying there, but, it's not really appropriate to just, like, push them or smack them or something like that. Like, maybe just ask nicely to, please stop, we'll give that back next time. Tell them, just maybe tell them something that, you would do in that situation, or what, because they might just act out just for, or maybe they just want attention that day, and maybe just say like, hey, are you okay today? Like, what's been going on? Like, I noticed that you're kind of in a bad mood, or you're kind of angry. Like, is there a reason that you smacked so and so? Ask them questions like that. In a controlled way. Don't like freak out. Because then, the way you handle situations will dictate how it escalates, right? If you're always like kind of calm and keep your cool about it, if there's ever any, heaven forbid, I don't think we're ever gonna have like any like huge fights. But if something like that happens between two littles, try to separate them, cool them off, and just be calm with them. Talk to them about it. And if you need to get us, obviously you're gonna probably want to get us involved as well. Let me know, or let your site person know what happened, what you saw, and then we'll talk to them about it. Good. Okay, we'll just do one more. So what about scenario 3? You may want to read that one. Yeah.
Biggs, Isaiah, Carrie, Shannon, and Rachel are all good friends. While waiting for the littles to arrive, they strike up a very teen conversation about what happened over the weekend that is not meant for elementary or middle school ears. The littles arrive during the best part of the conversation, so they continue talking in the presence of their littles.
Right. So we talked about this at the very beginning, right? In terms of like what type of conversations are appropriate to have while the program's going on. So what would you do in that situation? You're talking to another big, and they're telling you about some crazy party they were at over the weekend, and it's starting to get a little bit too like adult in terms of like the stuff that was going on, and there's kids coming in. What do?
Stop and say just pick it up later.
Yeah. Be like, oh hey, the program's starting. Why don't we pick this conversation up later? Like, oh, I know this is the best part, but let's hold off on having this conversation right now. Because heaven forbid if you just kept talking and a little overheard, and then they're like, so-and-so's talking about that, and then, you're going to be embarrassed, and, they're going to want to talk about that the whole time, and so, just always kind of be aware of those type of situations. Make sure if you are having a conversation that's more high school oriented, that, try to wrap it up by the time, the program's about to start, or if you hear most of the programs, you'll kind of hear a bell ring, or they'll dismiss kids. So, just kind of use that as like a warning sign. Like, hey, or if somebody's like, hey, wants to initiate conversation with you about something, just be like, hey, let's talk about this after the program. Like, hey, I'm doing something with my little today. So there might be other bigs that'll do that. They'll try to distract you. I'm not saying you gotta be rude to them about it. You don't have to call them out. Like, oh, I'm hanging out with my little, but just say something to them like, hey, hanging out with my little. We'll talk about this later. Cool? Alright. Who are our littles? I just want to talk about just having the idea of, don't judge them based on, their family situation. Maybe they have, not the best hygiene. They might have some rough situations going on at home. So just kind of treat each little with kind of a blank slate in terms of what your expectations are. You got to remember that this program might be the best part of their day. They might hate school. They might hate being at home. Maybe like stepdad's like really mean to them, or them and mom just really butt heads, and this is like the only time they get to have fun the entire day is during this program. And always just use positive comments around them. It's really infectious, like overly positive. Like every time your little comes in, like, oh my gosh, is that a new shirt? That shirt is awesome. Oh my gosh, your shoes. Oh, how cool are those shoes? Stuff like that, and be positive with other littles too. It doesn't have to be just your little, be positive to each other. Don't find yourself like always like ripping on another big. If you're like one of those like kind of like prankster type persons, or you're funny, that's cool, but don't use this program as a time to like put people down. Even if it's just like all in good fun, you might just be teasing. That's fine, but try to do that more in like a one-on-one setting, like I said before. Don't call anybody out in front of people, because kids don't really know that, and they will mimic the stuff that you guys do, and the things that you say. So the more positive you are around them, with each other, and with them, you'll start to see they'll pick up on that stuff. And they'll be more positive to you and to other kids. And that's what we want to create. Okay? A really positive environment where everybody's uplifting everyone else. We're all friends. No one should ever not get along with somebody in our program. You don't have to be best friends, but we should all be able to accept each other, talk about things, work together on stuff. If we're having like group conversations about stuff, there's no stupid questions. When we're having discussions, nobody said, oh, that was stupid. Like, no. We're all learning. We're all getting better. So be positive with each other. Supplemental training. This is just some stuff that we might talk about down the road with you guys. I'm not saying you're going to have to come to one of these trainings again. I'm just saying your site person might say, okay, before our program starts, I want just 10 minutes of just a quick refresher about something that I want to talk about with the littles today. And they might just kind of go over one of these things. So it could be goal setting or expectations, positively influencing behavior, protocol, something like that. The impact of mentoring. So these are just kind of the things that, to wrap us up today, that you're going to have an impact on. Obviously, you're going to be there for support for your little. Empowerment. You guys know what empowerment means?
Make them feel better about themselves.
Right. Yeah, you're helping them feel better about themselves, right? And yourselves as well. Boundaries and expectations. Hopefully, you're teaching proper boundaries and that they're starting to have expectations about, how they can act, what they can do, that type of stuff. Positive values are obviously important. A commitment to learning. Always be positive about school. Even if you hate school, don't let your littles know that you hate school. Be positive about it. Because even the person that gets all Fs or really struggles with test taking, learning, they can still get some value out of school. Not everyone has to get an A on a test to get value out of school. Maybe it's just being around other kids, learning responsibility, social skills. All those things are built through school, right? So even if you're not the most successful academic person, you can still get something out of school by being there and working with people and talking to people. So, everyone needs school. So be positive about it with these kids, because there will be some kids that are like, school sucks, I hate school, man. It's the worst. I don't want to be here. I hate everything about it. I get it, but, we kind of have to be. And it's important. Most people, have some type of formal education that helps them. There's always the people that are the exception to the rule, but for the most part, school's helpful for people. Have a positive identity about themselves and yourselves, and then just social competencies. How do you act around other people? How do you treat other people? Just the whole idea of, treat others the way you'd want to be treated. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. All that type of stuff ties in, right? Show them that kind of stuff. Things you can do as a mentor to build developmental assets. So the very last thing we'll talk about, just a list of 12 things that you're going to help your little with this year. That's going to have a huge impact on them. Number 1, learn student names and use them. The more you know of other littles' names, and you can call them by that instead of just hey, you, they enjoy that kind of stuff. So try to get to know everybody's name, even if it's not your little, and other bigs as well. Use creative, fun activities to engage them in thinking. Number 3, ask students to help you with a project or task. Number 4, explain program expectations to the students. Number 5, compliment students for doing positive things. Number 6, show genuine respect and expect it in return. You guys should expect your littles to be respectful back to you. Don't let them say things to you that aren't appropriate or treat you in a way that makes you feel bad. Don't be afraid to say, I'm not saying you have to yell at them like I said before, but if they say something that's really disrespectful to you, just be like, that's not really appropriate, and talk to them. Tell them why. Have those tough conversations. And if early on it's tough for you, get us involved. We'll have those tough conversations with them. We want to empower you to have those conversations, but some people might not be ready right away. Sometimes it's intimidating, so we'll help you with that stuff. Number 7, talk to students about things you guys have in common. Number 8, listen actively. That just means, when your little's talking to you, don't be distracted by something else. Give them eye contact, nod along, ask questions about what they're talking about. That way they know you're listening to them. Talk about people that you admire and why. Help students move through some of the frustrations they might be going through. Follow through, show up on time. And finally, help students with decision-making skills. Any questions? You guys are going to do a great job. All right? We are done. So